Okay, it's game 3 of Captain's League 2 Slapball. Best two teams right now, both 1 and 0, going at each other. Let's take a look at the teams. I said this in my initial analysis of the draft that I think Jake, the green team, got the best core players, but the yellow team is close second. And I think, honestly, after seeing both their first games, it was pretty tight because you had very structured gameplay versus very chaotic. And after this, the structured ended up winning, and it was very decisive, I might add. So here are the stats. If you want to pause the video and take a closer look at whatever you find interesting, do it now. I'm going to break a lot of these stats down that I think is very important. Unlike green versus blue, there is some stats to take a look at, as well as some gameplay stuff. And so we're going to go into both of those. We're going to talk about the gameplay at the end of the video, but let's talk about the core stats. Okay, so the first one is passing. So passing from the first half, the second half, and then the difference between the two. It is very surprising to see the green team pass less. And they were already passing less in general compared to the yellow team per half anyways. But it was just surprising that number 25 and 2 really leaned on each other to maybe get stuff done and use the other two very minimally. Obviously, number 99 started just throwing the ball a lot, and we'll get into that. But I think the green team really needs to just slow it down just a little bit and just pass the ball around. Like when you watch the yellow team, the Rippers, it is so clear that they're not just mindlessly passing the ball around like the blue team did, right? Like every time you pass a ball to one of these guys, they are actively killers. And BDD is now getting way more involved. Number 45, he's getting way more involved in terms of just being a threat, right? Not just standing there, but he does stand there to gain threat and score some goals. And so that's why I think green team really needs work on it. I think that's the story of the passing. However, the interesting story is number 0, Jack, not really doing too much in the first half in comparison to the previous game. And then the second half really stepping it up. And it's funny because essentially nothing really changed between halves for the yellow team. They had essentially the same amount of passes, just spread out differently. Jack just took a very more active role instead of number 77. And number 45, they just kind of hung back a little bit. And I think the main reason for this was just when you get so far ahead going into the second half, what craziness are you going to do, right? You're going to take high value plays. You're going to pass it around, just take the shots. You're going to take the shots. So it's kind of interesting just the difference of the two halves and what that meant for the team. So let's talk about throws, right? We talked about passing. How about actually scoring? So throwing, I didn't expect the green team to be such a heavy throw team. Looking at their first game, they looked more as a well-rounded team with very defined roles. Now, I took out Jack as well as BDD number 0s and 45 because I think they each threw 1 and it was 0, and I think it would just be distracting. So the first thing, yellow team barely did anything, right? Zoe did 5 throws, didn't score once. I think 2 of those was freezes. And I think all the other ones were just the blanket. Okay, well, no one's really open. We've had the ball for a while. Let's just try to do something wacky. And then number 77, just cross-court shots, made 1 of 2. Nothing too crazy, right? It's not really notable, but they're not throwing. Like, that's not a core part of their gameplay. But when you look at the green team, they are so dependent on it that it's not good. I mean, the second half, you had 2 people shooting the ball 7 times each. And they're making it one person made it once, and the other person made it twice. 3 out of 14. Like, that's even worse. It's even worse than looking at the first half where it's 9 for 1, or 1 for 9 out of 9. Like, it's just so crazy. Jake went 3 for 0. 42 missed a wide open shot very early on in the first half, and then was able to at least score his next throw. So it's just not really looking too good, right? And so 42, he has a bloated stat. But, looking at number 2, I think the issue is that when you have 2 people throwing the ball that much, then it's clear that you're not slapping the ball, right? You're not playing this close game, trying to find the gaps and get goals, right? Like the yellow team was. Yellow team was doing that so effectively, finding the holes. Green team was trying to throw it long. And eventually, the defense just adapts. Like, it's just like football. If you're only going to do one thing, then they're just going to dedicate their defense to stopping that one thing. And it's going to be easier for them. You got to mix it up. You got to send number 99. So let's look at this, right? So slaps, right? The green team had number 99 temp 0. After that, you had 25 to 2. You had number 2 try 3. 42 try 3. And out of all those people, they only scored 1 slap goal. 1 slap goal. Oh my God. Like the ratio of scoring to attempts don't even really matter. They're just not really going for it. They're not giving it a good attempt. I feel like this is just what they end up doing when no one's really getting open, or they're just kind of going in solo. The assists are getting lower, but I think the Rippers are getting lower assists because it's the defense is getting better, but they're still able to have solid effectiveness because the whole team is now assisting on the play instead of just 2 people. I think the green team is trying to have 2 people score a goal, not all 4, right? I think 42 and 99 are not getting well involved unless they have the ball. With that being said, just the yellow team's pure effectiveness on slaps is so crazy. Like if we look at Zoe, number 21 this game, 7 attempts, 4 scores. 4. That is absurd. Like he is taking the shot and he is the main playmaker for this team. He always has the ball. So the fact that he is getting most of the attention and he's still being able to be this effective is absolutely insane. 77 really stepped up this game. 45 is still effective, right? He not only is he, I think he's the guy that really set the guard mentality by the goal, but now he's getting involved and meshing with the team. The Rippers, if they stay like this, you're really not going to be able to beat them because they're just so cohesive. You're looking at above 50% score rate on their top 2 slappers. Above 50%. That is tough. They are taking shots that are just too good for you to stop most of the time. And this stat line really made me scratch my head because the green team actually attempted 36, where the yellow team tried 28. So I count turnovers and attempts separately. So this is every single time they actually made an attempt that wasn't an error, right? So if you try to pass the ball for a spike, but you just completely missed, that's a turnover, not an attempt, right? If you, if the guy trying to slap the ball couldn't even get the ball, like he wasn't looking, yeah, that's a turnover, not an attempt. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the stat line. So the green team, who played a more individual game, definitely had more attempts and less turnovers, but you're looking at 6 points out of 36. 1 every 6 plays you're scoring, right? And so to me, that feels really random. That doesn't feel very strong. And then you look at the yellow team, 28-9. I think the yellow team was doing stuff that worked, and then slowly the green team kind of started figuring out and started experimenting. It just took a long time. So, and not to mention, the green team, a lot of their points came in at the second half when the yellow team just wasn't scoring, wasn't doing much. So this is actually better than you could have expected. Because imagine if they were still at like 2 to 3 points, right? Then you're looking at 36 attempts, possibly for only 2 to 3 points. Not very good at all. So, with that being said, I just want to talk about the Reapers, right? I want to talk about how they're playing because they are adapting, they're evolving, they're getting a lot better. So, if you saw my first game, I broke down how they were playing. So, let's talk about what they've done on the second day. So the first play that they do, this is like every single time they play, this is what they do, and it's very effective. So you send the ball to 0, and then 21 just kind of runs up and sets play. 0 then has a lot of options, but typically they just send him to, right? They just do a bunch of pump fakes, say, screw it, let's just get everyone involved. And so now you have 2 lethal threats on one side. Then you have 77 coming as well. So it's a 4v4, and you think it's equal, right? It's not. It's seriously not. Because here's where you typically end up, and it's just not fair. Because look how ineffective 99 is. Right? Like he's essentially guarding 2 people, and then 2 and 25 are both just on their own sides trying to guard their one person. But the issue is that Zoe can do whatever he wants, right? And now this team has 3 valid people that can try to go and play make. 77 is not really the best, and 0-0. I feel like he struggles to get the ball rolling when Zoe is just doing a pretty good job all in all. And so this is what's tough, because what ends up happening is 99 typically goes off with, like, let's say 77. So you're in a 3v3 scenario when you're just going to lose the whole time, because they can easily double up. They can send everyone on one side and have this multi-option Fang move on you, and the other person has to go through the triangle, maybe can't go through the triangle because they're blocking it, right? Like it's just a mess that could cause a penalty shot. Not very good. So I'm not going to stay here. This is just my quick analysis of what was going on, what I was seeing. But what I want to do is give a recommendation. And I think I would love to hear people's thoughts. Here's how I think the green team should play. And I know what you're thinking. This looks like shit. But in this scenario, if you play super tight and you force them to shoot these diagonal shots, it is such a low percentage shot for the attacking team that it's better than them just swarming you and you just don't know where the slap's going to come from, right? Because if 77 is going to shoot, not only do you have clear line of vision for 42 to really just secure the block attempt, right? Like you're at this point where, it's just, where is he going to bounce it? How hard is he going to throw it? And you just try to find what the hole is going to be. Is it going to be high bounce, low bounce, whatever, right? So you have at least 2 defenders on each one of these shooters. But what if 45 comes in? That's when you go and you prevent them from taking this whole area, right? You just make them uncomfortable. They can't get close enough to do a shot. You just try to block this area. Even if 21 comes in, 99 should cover, right? 25 and 2 should just be covering these wings as an extension of the goalie, right? I don't think he'll be blocking their line of sight, but I think they're playing too high, right? Number 99 should be taking care of everything, right? If they send the ball across, right, like if 77 goes to 21, 42 doesn't even need to commit, right? Because the problem is if you're at where 25 is, sending the ball to where 2 is at, you're going 2 extremes. But the more you move up, the more it's less of an extreme, and he can pivot a lot effectively and follow the ball easier. Not to mention, you're going to have to, if you're going to send that, 99 controls this whole top half, and then if each defender blocks this, like you're covering this whole area, and you're making sure that they can't do wings, and you're forcing them to throw, which they haven't been doing. So you're pushing them to do the shots that they aren't comfortable doing. So that's my recommendation. I'm just theorizing it, but I feel like this is the best defense for a team that's just sending 4 people. I think for the green team, they're going to have to start mixing in a full all-out attack. Because to me, when you throw it, it's a full reset anyways. So why not just start sending all 4 people, and if you end up throwing it, like you at least tried to do something different. But it's just so silly to me just to constantly just throw the ball to the attack, triangle the Shady Rays box, and just trying to get these quick attacks, do a full reset. It's not doing much for you. You're just increasing the pace of the game, which isn't bad for you, maybe, besides the fact that number 42 conditioning might be an issue. I don't know about the other guys. Maybe Jake's fine. He's the only one that's maybe questionable, but they really need to focus on getting 99 involved in the slap game, right? Because he's a great thrower, but if you can make him a multi-threat, then it completely changes his team altogether. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Stay tuned for game 4, where it's both the 0-1 teams. So it's very interesting to see how both of them have adapted and what they're doing. But I'll catch you guys later. Leave a comment on what you think.